Just work your way down to the end, please. We want to get everybody in. You can come back too if you want. Yeah, make sure you get a room guide. Yeah, the original one's in the White House. This is an official copy. This is the first inaugural portrait of Mamie
I
Eisenhower.
thought this property was 600-something acres.
Well, it's 690 today. That's because
Okay.
two neighboring farms that his friend, if you move down, his friend owned, and when he died unexpectedly in a plane crash, his widow donated it to the national park. And then the farm to the west was on the market in 1971, and the Park Service bought that. So today we have a complete buffer around the Eisenhower farm. So folks, if you don't have buffers, you can have neighbors you don't want to have. I think everybody can empathize with neighbors you don't want to have.
Look at how neat that one is.
So it'd be nice if you could put 690 acres between you and the neighbors you don't want to have. Okay, folks, obviously this room is very formal. The Eisenhowers do not spend a lot of time in this formal living room. I called the room stuffy. The grandchildren called it Grandma's Museum. Most of what you see in here are gifts. The only things the Eisenhowers bought: the grand piano, baby grand, this table, the sofa, and the two comfortable chairs. Everything else were gifts. Now, when Ike was president, if he received a gift from a head of state, he was allowed to keep it and put it in the living room of his house. Ethics regulations have changed over time. So, for example, beautiful Persian rug in front of the fireplace. That was a gift from the Shah of Iran. The table in front of the sofa was a gift from Mrs. Syngman Rhee of South Korea to First Lady Mamie Eisenhower on the 1-year anniversary of the armistice ending the Korean War. It was a thank you gift for that. The marble fireplace was actually in the White House from the 1850s to the 1870s. When Ulysses S. Grant's wife became First Lady, she thought that fireplace looked old-fashioned and dated. Can't have that in the White House. So it was removed, it was auctioned off, it was put in a wooden crate, and then in the 1950s, some White House staffers found it in DC. They paid a few $100s for it and gave it to the Eisenhowers on their 38th wedding anniversary. And Eisenhower was really touched with the gift because there's photographs of Abraham Lincoln leaning up against the fireplace. And Ike's #1 hero was Abraham Lincoln. You'll see signs of Lincoln as you go through the house. A couple things I'd like to point out since we have a young lady right in the front here. You see all these things here? Those are ashtrays, cigarette boxes, cigarette lighters. We don't see that anymore. It shows you a big cultural shift in American culture from 1967 to today. Back in 1967, you didn't tell your friends to go outside and smoke. Everybody lit up everywhere. Another cultural shift, this sofa. The Eisenhowers bought it early in their marriage, early 1920s. So they do all these renovations by mid-1950s. It's a 35-year-old sofa. Today, that's going to be out by the dumpster. God, we can't have a 35-year-old sofa. Well, Mamie has it reupholstered. Back in those days, there were men who made good livings doing reupholstery, so she had it reupholstered to go with the decor of the room. Another thing you're going to notice when you get out to the sun porch are slip covers. The furniture out there was still in good shape. Why get rid of it and buy something new? Buy some slip covers that are easy to clean. That's what Mamie did. The next room is the true living room of the house. That's where the Eisenhowers spend most of their time. What I like to say about Eisenhower, by far he was an extraordinary man. But the way he lives his life on a day-to-day basis, he is very ordinary, very relatable to most Americans. That's where the TV is. He loves Gunsmoke, Bonanza, Western, all those shows from his day. Mamie loves her soap operas. As the World Turns is her favorite. You know, keep in mind, there's no Netflix back then. There's no on-demand. So if Mamie was going to miss an episode of her favorite soap opera, she would ask a U.S. Secret Service agent to take detailed notes for her and give her a briefing when she got back to the farm. So that's Mamie. Also, TV trays. If nobody was coming over for dinner, they're going to pull out their TV trays. They're going to eat their dinner right in front of the TV set. That's the Eisenhowers. As you come back into the entrance hallway, you're going to see another portrait. That's John Eisenhower, their only child who makes it to adulthood, the father of the 4 Eisenhower grandchildren. It's his West Point graduation portrait. And if you're not aware, he graduated from West Point on June 6, 1944, D-Day. So you think about it, Ike is executing the greatest military plan ever, where his son is graduating from his alma mater. And Ike, the father, would have loved to have been with John, but duty calls at that time. There was a lot of sacrifices that even the Supreme Allied Commander had to make during World War II. Any questions?
The portrait over here is.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's Mamie's mother.
Okay.
Mrs. Olivera Dowd, she had a room, you'll see her room upstairs, and she had a room at the White House. She died in 1960, the last year of the Eisenhower administration. Anybody else? So thanks for coming, folks, and sorry that you had to wait a little bit, so I'm trying to give you a little bit more time to cool down.
Any of the grandchildren come back to visit?
All 4 of the grandchildren are still alive. David Eisenhower is 74, and he married Nixon's second daughter, Julie Nixon. The 3rd grandchild, Susan Eisenhower, is emeritus at the Eisenhower Institute at Gettysburg College. She comes every couple months, usually bringing students. She'll send us an email asking if it's all right to start conversations. When Ike and Mamie signed the deed over, there was no provisions for grandchildren. So they have as much right here as you have.
And that's your sirs or
High five. If not Wi-Fi, high five. Thanks, Chris. Thank you. And that's what the state. His passion is he's blackening his shoulders. He wants first place for the That's his son.
See, that's a portrait of the son. Okay.